how to say no without feeling guilty. This can feel so difficult, but I'm going to go into exactly why. I always go much deeper in these lives. Take notes, you'll find it very useful, and then you can go away and practice implementing some of the things I mentioned today, which will really help you get rid of the guilt. Like, for fuck's sake, how long have we sabotaged ourselves and our confidence and chipped away at our confidence because we feel guilt or we feel shame? Exactly why that happens. So first of all, it's very important to remember that just because we might say no does not mean we're not appreciative, we're not grateful, we're not thankful. You can still feel the emotion of thankfulness. You can still feel the emotion of gratefulness, appreciation, and still say no. I'm going to turn that into a quote and share that at some point. It's so important that you can still feel those things and still say no. We have to move away from the belief that saying no means we aren't. Now, that's usually because of the feedback we've been given, right? So you could say no to somebody, and maybe this has happened to you in your past, which is why you find it hard to say no now, because you've said no and the person has called you ungrateful, trouble, rude, disrespectful, selfish. I mean, selfish. How often in relationships, arguments, when you say no to something, how selfish, you are so fucking selfish. Like, you don't never think about me. And all of the feedback that you get when you say no just puts you into the place of fear and unable to express yourself at all because of the reaction of other people towards you. So we know this. This is not new information. But just because we know something doesn't mean we actually practice and know the tools that we can use to help us overcome that, because knowing it is one thing, awareness is one thing. But if you're still living in a place where you don't know how to say no without feeling guilty, then we need to start rephrasing and shifting and changing those beliefs so that we can start changing your behavior. So this is where we now go to the deeper layer. And I love this, because before I learned this myself, I had no freaking idea. I was just going through life. No one taught me this at school. My parents didn't teach me this, right? This is generational change, everyone, okay? So this may sound boring and simple, but it's often the bit that we want to skip. We can't really be bothered to do, like, painting. We know we have to do the preparation, right, before we just stick the paint on. But how often do we just go, oh, I just don't have to clean the walls and sand the walls and prep the walls, and can't I just stick the paint on? And most people do. They just go around and just stick paint on. And then what happens? Looks crap, paint chips off, things happen. So we have to be grounded in our values. This is one of the first things I cover when I work with clients one-to-one. The first thing I cover is value work. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, I know my values. It's a very interesting task. If you go to Google, you can type in a list of values and you'll get, list images. Look at the images and you'll get a great list of values. Honesty, trust, respect, all of them. The first task is to try and just find your key 5. Now, that can be really difficult. When I first did this, I could only get to about 20. I'd look through the whole list of key common values and I'd be like, yeah, but that's important to me. That's important to me. Creativity. It wasn't just about trust, honesty, respect. It was all sorts of things that were important to me. And then you got to whittle that down to 10, you whittle that down to 5. That's the challenge. And why is this? Because we are deeply rooted in some key values. Yes, we do apply the other ones too. But the key values are the ones that are deeply rooted to our self-worth and self-confidence. So we need to get really good at knowing what they are. And those values can change over time, ladies. It's so important to know that 5 values that you picked in 2021 may not now apply to you in 2023. They were maybe completely different when you were younger, in your 20s or your 30s. And now you're in a different stage of your life. You need to update your values and check in with them all the time. Why do we need to know this? We need to be deeply rooted in our values so we can admit and express our needs. How many of us struggle in our relationships, whether it be love, family, business? Any video that I share with you in here, it doesn't have to be a specific business video. I know many of you in here are self-employed and run your own businesses. This is foundational shit that you need to get right so that you can start being really great in your business. Because you cannot attract and be living in this position that you have in your business as your CEO, as the leader of whatever it is that you do, if you haven't got the basics right for yourself in your heart. The emotional work comes first. Business coaches, learning how to use TikTok, learning how to do SEO, all that crap. Yes, you can go on those courses and you can hire business coaches that can teach you how to do marketing and all that stuff. What is the point in doing any of that and investing in any of that before you have actually addressed your heart? Deep feelings of shame, self-sabotage, guilt, everything that is rooted in your self-worth. And the reason why you cannot go live or do video content and all of that stuff that you feel scared of is the fear of imposter syndrome and judgment and all of those other things that come up when you are putting yourself out there. I go through exactly the same. And I went on all the courses and stayed in the knowledge zone because that's where I was comfortable. Raise your hand. I know who you are. Going off topic, but I'm not really. Why do we stay in the knowledge zone? We stay in the knowledge zone because it's comfortable. Let's just go on one more course and then that will help me. And then I'll learn something and then I'll be able to push the button and go live. And that's absolute fucking bullshit. The reason why you can't push a video and go live is because of those arseholes that bullied you when you were 10 at school. Well, that's just my personal circumstances. I was bullied in secondary school for years, awfully, absolute years. And there was I was shaking when I first did my first live or video, put it out there, shaking. So I was unable to express my needs in relationships. I was unable to ask people, or say, this is what I need, this is what I want. And very often when I'm working with somebody for the first 2 to 3 sessions, it's always the first 2 to 3 sessions where we go really deep. And this is where the emotion and the tears and everything comes up beautifully. And they come up, those emotions come up because you realize that you haven't been able to say what you need and what you want for years. Not only have you not been able to say it, if I've asked you as your coach, what do you want? It's like you just straight away, defenses go up. It feels uncomfortable and you freeze because you don't even fucking know. And the answer most of the time, if you're in this position, this is your freeze response moment. And you say to me, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Now, that's okay. It's okay to be in that position if you don't know. And I will help you figure it out. That's the whole point of somatic healing and holistic coaching. We go through it all, layer by layer by layer. But if you know your values, so let's go back to the video, how to say no without feeling guilty. If we know our values, deep rooted in our values, and we know our needs and our wants, that equals self-confidence in our decisions. So if you've made the decision No, I don't want to go to that thing that I was invited to, and I want to say no without feeling guilty, you already know your decision because you know your values, you know your needs, you know your wants, you know your why. You've already gone through the whole process of asking yourself, what do I want? What do I need? Is this thing that I've been invited to good for me right now? Now, many of us get trapped and problems arise when we are thinking externally. This is probably the most important part of this video. So take the notes, listen to this bit. We cannot be true to ourselves and our values if we are focusing on the external problem. So I'm going to use the fact that someone's invited you to go and do something as the example. So let's say this person is a friend or a work colleague. They've invited you to go and do something. You're focusing on their reaction, how they're going to react to you saying no, their response, their needs. When you're feeling guilty, you are thinking about them. You're certainly not thinking about yourself. When was the last time you did that? A long time ago. We need to understand the difference between internal and external values. Okay. So let's try and understand this even more. Let's pick a value off the list of many that are out there. Let's say respect. Could have picked any of them. Let's talk about respect. Respect may be a deep value for you. You feel like you respect other people and you want them to respect you. The difficulty comes when you realize that you're going around being lovely and respectful to everybody else, and other people are breaking your boundaries and disrespecting you. And rather than keeping them there, because that's their problem to own and to solve, you start questioning yourself. Why are they doing that to me? Why are they disrespecting me? Why are they disrespecting me? Why am I emphasizing certain keywords? Why are they disrespecting me? Again, external. The focus and attention is on them. When you turn around and say, well, respect is one of my key values because I respect other people. Again, you're thinking about them outside of your skin, your body, your mind, body, and spirit. I want people to respect me. Again, I want people to respect me. Again, you're still focusing outside of yourself. I was doing this for years. I didn't even know that internal, external existed. So, yes, respect can be a value for you. But is it really? Are you a closet hypocrite? Now, before you feel offensive by that term, offended, don't feel offended. It's actually a massive realization drop because you can believe that respect is a true value of yours and you give out respect and you wish to receive respect, but at the same time, you're not respecting yourself. It's very possible that in your life, look around and ask yourself, am I showing myself respect when I'm lacking in personal hygiene, not bothered to clean the house, smoking, doing things that are bad for me, disrespecting my body, disrespecting myself when I'm doing things that I know aren't good for my health and my wealth, my bad habits? our bad habits and how we actually treat ourselves on a daily basis, we could very easily be disrespecting ourselves in so many areas. You will not receive the respect that you want from other people if you are not able to show yourself respect in your life with how you behave towards you. It's just it's a law. It's a universe. The universe says so, right? And you could go through all the values and do this. You could this is a really great task for you to do. Not only have you got to try and whittle down your key values, you then go through them and go, right, trust. Let's talk about trust. I trust other people, or maybe I struggle with that actually, because of things that have happened to me in the past, to you in the past. You may be thinking this thought, but I want people to trust me. People can trust me. Other people can trust me. I'm a very trustworthy person. Trust, yes, trust is a very, very important value. Yet you can't trust yourself to make a decision. You can't trust yourself to show up for your business consistently and do things that you want to do because you're putting it off and making excuses. You can't trust yourself in other areas of your life. So if you can't trust yourself to stick and hold yourself accountable to the exercise regime that you just designed for yourself, which is going to restart a cycle of feeling like you're a failure because you said, right, I'm going to go for a mile walk twice a week, and you never do it. You can't trust yourself. Every time you break that trust, you break your confidence. And if you can't trust yourself in the way you're showing up for yourself, you certainly won't receive it from the outside world. Now, these two things work together to help you feel less guilty. You may be sitting there thinking, what's this got to do with not being able to say no without feeling guilty? Strong values, deeply rooted within how you treat yourself internally and what you expect from other people externally, plus needs, knowing what you want, what is good for you, and even asking yourself the question, what do I need right now, equals confidence in decision making. Once you make the decision for yourself and you decide, I don't want to go to that thing I've been invited to, I'm going to say no to this person, you're now not saying no from a reactive point of view of feeling nervous and anxious and, oh, I want to say no because I don't want to go to that thing, but I'm worried about what they're going to say, or I'm going to feel bad. You're saying no because you've gone through, you have coached yourself through this entire process of your values, your needs, your wants. You've asked yourself, what do I need? What do I want? And you have a reason. You now have a reason, a good fucking reason for why you will be saying no to doing this thing. When you have the reason and you believe that reason and you know that reason is the best reason, you don't feel guilty. Think about times in your life when you have said no to things and you felt absolutely fine to say no to those things because you had a reason or an excuse even. Like, I can't because I've got to take Thomas to his football match. Thomas doesn't play football, rugby, whatever. When you have a reason why you can't, it's easy. But notice that a lot of those reasons involve external people. You need to have something going on so you can give a good excuse. And if you don't have it, you make it up. Oh, I can't because I have to take Thomas to his football match. This football match isn't even happening. It doesn't exist, but you've made it up because you want to say no. Now you're lying. But if you go through this entire routine that I have talked about in this video today and ask yourself those important questions and go through from your values all the way to your needs and wants, and you come up with a good reason for yourself as to why you need to say no, that will really help you Say no gracefully. And if you remember at the very beginning of this video, I said you can say no and still feel appreciative. You can say no and still feel thankful. You can say no and still feel grateful. I realized that was a lot to throw at you today, but I hope you found it very useful. Let me know how this resonates and lands for you. So just before we go, 2 weeks ago, I did the 3-day boundary challenge in the VIP area. If you are a VIP member, do go and check that out. The meditations that are linked to a couple of those days are going to be dropping over the next couple of days. They'll be with you by the end of the weekend. A couple of other things that I wanted to remind you of is, if you are new here, welcome. Check out the side tabs and remember to go and have a look at all the other past events and videos. Somatic healing, we've got 12 days of use somatic healing that you've got access to. Go through that, have a good old binge. Everybody here invited to come and join our somatic circle session on Zoom, which is where I guide you through a lovely somatic guided session of healing on a key topic that's really great, and it involves a lot of the body techniques that I share. So it's the physical, practical work together. And we have our cup of chit chat, which I love. It is just, we turn up with hair buns, PJs. We turn up like that on all the Zooms, by the way. Don't ever think you have to turn up in any other way. But it's just a cup of chit chat, and that's where we just connect with each other and check in, see how we're all doing. They're lovely. It's been such a pleasure talking about this topic today. As you can see, it is deep. There's lots of different elements involved, and I hope that really helps you learn how to start saying no now without feeling guilty. Love you lots. Speak to you soon. Take care.